The NFL had a big trade this morning.
Huge.
I don't know if you heard or not. Bazooka Joe Milton, formerly of the University of Tennessee, then of the New England Patriots, has now been traded to the Dallas Cowboys.
Wow.
Alongside a 7th-round pick, in return, the Patriots will get a 5th-round pick.
So I almost can't believe my eyes. Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys actually did something. They traded for Joe Milton, a super high upside QB, for a 5th-round pick while getting back a 7th. Now, to state the obvious, because I know there's trolls out there, I know this doesn't do anything in terms of making the Cowboys a contender right now, but it's crazy to make a video about this team talking about a move they made, because these days, it's a rarity. So who is Joe Milton? Milton is a 24-year-old, 6'5", 247-pound QB with an insanely strong arm. Like I said, Milton is a guy with a super high ceiling just because of his size and arm talent, and the big thing to me that this move does is it allows the Cowboys to attack the upcoming draft in a different way now without having to worry about the quarterback position, and they can focus on weapons. This is definitely an interesting situation for Joe Milton though, because it is about the point in his career where it's time for him to finally start and not just be a bench guy. And the last thing you want to see if you're a Cowboys fan is for Dak to not be traded and still be the priority, which he obviously will be. All you have to do is look at his contract to justify that. But if you're a Cowboys fan, the last thing you want to see is Joe rot away on the bench while Dak leads this team to a 9-8 record. But on the bright side, now the Cowboys actually have a real backup quarterback for if and ultimately when Dak goes down with an injury, because at this point in his career, that is what Dak is. He's an injury-prone player, and it wouldn't be terrible for Milton to sit back for 4 or 5 games and learn the Cowboys offense and system, and then go out and start, while Jerry either looks to trade Dak Prescott or just somehow move on from him. Milton last season played in just 1 game against the Buffalo Bills, but in that game, I think he showed a lot of GMs and scouts exactly what they wanted to see. He played so well that people were willing to take a bet purely just off his upside. He threw for 241 yards with a touchdown and no interceptions, and he had a completion percentage of about 76%. Now, I do recognize that this was all in a game against basically what was the Bills' second unit, and they were not necessarily trying to win, but nonetheless, this performance almost sort of stopped the Patriots from being able to keep this guy, because now Milton was a QB that wanted to be a starter, and some people were jumping the gun saying that he could start somewhere else. But obviously reality has now set in, because he's not coming into Dallas to be a starter, at least not right now, because Dak Prescott is the clear-cut #1 guy until things eventually change. Before I continue on with this video talking about this Joe Milton trade, I would really appreciate it if you would drop a like and subscribe. It only takes 5 seconds, plus you can always change your mind. We are on the road to 50,000 subscribers, and with your support, I believe that we can get there super fast. Alright, so I can't say that I fully expected for Dallas to be the landing spot for Joe Milton. I was thinking Pittsburgh. I'm a Browns fan, unfortunately, and we desperately need a quarterback. They were realistic options, but now we know that Dallas is the place, and it creates a very interesting upcoming draft scenario for Jerry Jones and the Cowboys. Let's take a look at the current depth chart to see the skill position players surrounding Joe Milton and Dak Prescott. So of course CeeDee Lamb is still the superstar. He is still the guy that will be leading the way in 2025, and I think this is going to be the case for the near future. I can't even describe how good he is with just words, because really he has been the one that defenses have circled when creating a game plan, and still he puts up these MVP caliber statistical seasons. Last season CeeDee had just under 1,200 yards with 6 touchdowns and an average of 12 yards per reception, which is really good considering the circumstances and how the team was basically on life support. Now on to the #2 receiver. Right now Jonathan Mingo is in that role, and I'm not gonna lie, that makes me nervous. He did really struggle to get open, but one thing that can be said is that he's 23 years old, and once he finds the right system, I think he can take off. Then next to him is Jalen Tolbert, who is also pretty young, and last season he had 610 yards and 7 touchdowns, which was 1 more than CeeDee Lamb. But nonetheless, the Cowboys definitely need to circle and keep their eye on offensive weapons in the draft. They are crazy if they don't, because I honestly hate the running back room as well. I really don't think Javonte Williams is going to be the #1 back by week 1. Miles Sanders could be, but still still, he doesn't get me excited. I still am not very confident in Jerry Jones. This Joe Milton trade does not make me all of a sudden think that Jerry Jones is now assertive and is going to fill the hole, but only time will tell. And now moving on, let's take a look at the mock draft, because all of a sudden things have completely changed. But still, for the second consecutive offseason, the Cowboys have come up short in making a splash in free agency. While they managed to bring back Osa Odahizua to a huge 4-year, $80 million deal, that was pretty much their only splash. Now Cowboys fans will have to look forward to the NFL draft in hopes that Dallas will draft well and deliver a strong rookie class. With having 10 picks to use, there should be absolutely no excuse as to why Dallas can't bring in a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. Last season, the Cowboys were heavily criticized for their lack of pursuit of a top running back like Derrick Henry. However, they managed to have Rico Dowdle produce nicely with over 1,000 yards on the ground, but he recently took his talents to the Carolina Panthers and got a nice payday. Like I said, the Cowboys did bring in Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders in free agency, but that simply won't fix the run game for Dak Prescott. Instead, the Cowboys should be focusing in on a certain running back prospect who can kind of take over the young Ezekiel Elliott role or something very similar to that. And to me, Omarion Hampton would be a fantastic lights out pick for Dallas. Hampton has been beyond productive the last 2 years with the Tar Heels, rushing for 3,164 yards and 30 touchdowns. North Carolina focused their offense on Hampton, giving him no less than 253 carries the last 2 seasons. This has Ohio State Ezekiel Elliott written all over it. Just like Hampton, Elliott was highly productive in his last 2 seasons as a Buckeye, rushing for over 1,800 yards and 41 touchdowns in that time. The Cowboys ended up selecting Elliott 4th overall in 2016, and it paid off for them early on in his career. Without him, the Cowboys wouldn't have had the success that they did when Elliott was on his rookie deal. And with him being on that cheap rookie deal, they were able to spend money elsewhere, and that is what kind of made them so good. But outside of that, I think the Cowboys should take a high upside receiver. It's never bad in the later rounds to retool the offensive and defensive line, and yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next few weeks. But those are my thoughts on the Joe Milton trade and what they should now do in the draft. Here's what some other people have had to say.
There was some breaking news, and then we have to change it all from yesterday to today because the Patriots have traded Joe Milton to the Cowboys. What does it mean? He'll be the backup to Dak, okay. Cooper Rush now ipso facto moves to Baltimore. Before that, Jerry tried to get and land a developmental quarterback behind Dak in Trey Lance 2 years ago. That didn't end great, and now we're taking another crack. We're taking a crack at Milton. I very much enjoyed engaging with Joe during the draft process. Last year, I believe he has a lot of potential. Dare I say, and the Dallas fans maybe, I like it. I like it. I like it. Dak is entering year 10 and missed most of last season with the injury. I like this for Dallas, but there is bigger stuff going on.
That's really all I got for this video. Thank you all so much if you made it to this point, and if you enjoyed and haven't yet, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe because your support truly does mean the world. Please let me know what you would like to see next, and until then, I will see you all later.